Okay, I am someplace where we've driven by several times. I've stopped in and looked once or twice, but I've never done a video here because the gate was always locked. But today the gate was open, so I'm coming in here. This is the Jewell Cemetery State Historic Site. This is in Columbia, Missouri, home of University of Missouri. And it is a very old cemetery that is full of founding fathers and other notables from the beginnings of this area of Missouri. In the early part of the 1800s, Missouri was very much a frontier. It was very wild, unsettled, very, very frontiery. And the folks buried here behind me were a big part of that. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to look at this sign. This sign talks about who all is buried here. So as part of the former farmstead of George Jewell, who died in 1844. They're from Virginia and Kentucky, and they moved here in 1821. First burial here was in 1822. And it's got a lot of, we're going to walk through here and take a look at them. It's got a decent number of stones left. I think some of them may be modern reconstructions. A couple of people who are buried here who are of importance. This Dr. William Jewell was an early mayor of Columbia, which is the town that we're in. He's also the founder of a college in Liberty, Missouri, which is outside Kansas City. Then there's Charles Henry Hardin, was a legislator from this area. He was in the U.S. House of Representatives, but he was removed from the U.S. House of Representatives because of his Confederate sympathies. Missouri was a slave state before the Civil War, and it was actually relatively evenly divided between supporters of the Confederacy and supporters of the Union. But a lot of these folks buried here are from the very early part of the 1800s, late 1700s, in this area of Missouri, which is basically central Missouri. This relatively small cemetery, it just stretches around here, and there's maybe, 50 stones or so. I'm sure that there are graves all under me here. They're just not marked. So we're going to take a walk back here and see what these are back here. And they just look to be, I don't know what these are. Are these markers? Looks like there may have been writing on them at one point, but you sure can't tell that now. But these are all markers, I'm sure, of graves. Family plots, maybe. Looks like they're all through the back half of this cemetery. Like I said, I've been by here several times, but I've never been actually in here because it's always been locked. And today it wasn't. The sign on the front says the site's open from sunrise to dusk. But the gate has always been locked, so I'm not sure why the gate is open today, but it was. So these are not, I'm sure these are graves of people who've been dead for hundreds of years, but none of them have writing on them. So let's take a walk up here where there's actual writing on the stones. So this is a headstone. This guy died in 1866. Last name was Wilhelmine. And this is a footstone. That's where the bottom of the grave is. So this is only about 5.5 feet. Although people weren't as tall back then. This is someone Jewell. The Jewells were one of the first families in this area of Missouri. He died in 65. Born in 1841, died in 1865. I did not notice, just glancing through, if there were any Civil War graves here. This one died 1856. Oh, that's his wife. That's the husband. This is the wife. And it looks like there may have been something engraved up here, which is long gone. Anne Eliza Jewell died 1844. So it's an old cemetery. Thomas Jewell. Looks like he also died 1844. These always kind of creep me out. I always assume that these are not actually buried. Like these two here, those two, that one, that they're not actually buried. They're like just in the box. And then you come over to the side here, and there's a crack in the box. So I'm kind of like, okay, so this guy who died several hundred years ago is one big shake from falling out of his grave. Assuming he's actually under here and he's not buried. I know sometimes they buried him and then put one of these things on top of him. This one looks like it's a more recent, like a reproduction. Born 1789, died 1852. It's old, but I don't think it's getting on to 200 years old. You can still read it too easily. So this has probably been redone it somewhere along the way. This one here is Mary Jewell, born 1761. She died aged, these are her kids. 29 days, 3 months and 29 days. I can't tell, 1761, I can't tell when she died. But she was born in 1761. Infant mortality was definitely a thing in the 1700s. Let's see, 1852, born 1851, died 1852, 10 months. So this is a baby's grave. This one here was 22 when he died in 1852. So I'm not seeing any Civil War graves in here. Most of these graves are pre-Civil War. Died 1846. John F. Stone. Charles Hardin. He lived for a little less than a month. So this is also a baby. It doesn't say what their last name is, unless I'm missing it somewhere. So it's a very old cemetery. Filled with, this has to be a newer stone for somebody who died. Actually, 1943, that's the most recent burial I've seen here, 1943. And then 1911. But that's got to be a more recent stone. I mean, that's modern. So somebody put that up recently. Charles, son of J. and A. Hardin. Looks like he died 1853. This one here died 1851. Aged 1 year, 27 days. Died 1861. Anna Hessler, wife of T.J. Hardin. Thomas J. Hardin, I think he's the guy from the sign. He's got a Mason symbol up here. Died 1866. Let's see if that's the guy from the sign. No, Charles Henry Hardin, 1820 to 1892. Maybe that's him. Yes, that's him. Charles Henry Hardin, died 1892. Yeah. It looks like he became a Baptist later in life. 1880, he laid down at the feet of Jesus all his earthly honors and attached himself to the Baptist Church. Philanthropist, lawyer, legislator, state senator, and governor. Governor? Did that sign say he was a governor? Oh yeah, he was elected governor. Voted back into the Missouri Senate in 1872 and then governor in 1875. So he was a Southern sympathizer during the war, but apparently reconciled himself enough to end up back as governor. Because I don't think they would have let him be governor in 1875. Well, Missouri wasn't under Reconstruction, so maybe the federal government didn't have a say in the matter. Because Missouri never seceded from the Union, so Missouri was not subject to Reconstruction. But this is a former governor of Missouri. And this, I believe, is his wife. He was 20 years older than her. And this looks like it might be his daughter-in-law, died in 1904. So anyway, it's a very old graveyard which has some notable people in it, and it is a Missouri State Historic Site, and it is the Jewell Cemetery. So, hope everyone has a good day.